The Dead Pair Podcast is brought to you by Elite Shotgun. They stand behind you. And is fueled by Fiocchi.
Welcome to the Dead Pair Podcast. Coming in hot with everything you want to hear about sporting clays.
Ben Hustway.
Each short Hawaiian person would have to fight 14 kangaroos.
Let's get Anthony on the phone.
You're making a big mistake, okay?
Yeah. We're talking Gianna Santo tonight.
Well, I have something, but I don't know how much everyone's going to like it.
I was not ready for that.
With your hosts, Jason Rambo.
You just didn't want my wife to edit something else you did.
And Sean Alley.
Gotta keep it PG-13, man.
Often imitated, but never duplicated. It's the Dead Pair Podcast. And now, it's showtime.
Welcome back, everyone. What's up, Mr. Large and in charge?
Well, Jason, like yourself, I'm sure you're trying to get back in the groove after the week-long process at the Nationals. I mean, gosh, what a whirlwind, man. I mean, have you even recovered yet?
No, I haven't got any sleep yet. I'm still trying to blow the dust off of everything. So,
right. Yeah, no doubt, man.
What a fun National. A little larger this year. I think this is the largest ever. 200 additional over last year. So it's still growing. And man, it just seems like, the one thing I don't like about Nationals is I don't get to spend enough time with any one person.
Well, no, because there's so many people there.
Yeah, I feel, people come up, they want to talk to us and stuff, and I want to stand there and talk to them, and then I gotta go because this person down here is waiting on us, and then we get there, and we gotta go because we gotta be over here, and it's nonstop, and I feel like you just don't have a minute to yourself almost,
Well, I mean, look at what we did, man. I mean, we were basically up, we had 8 a.m. rotations Thursday, Friday, Saturday, so we were up early in the morning. I think we were both up at about 5, get showered, shaved and all that stuff and get out the door. And then we were there all day. And then we did all the live broadcasts from the museum. And, most of those nights we weren't home until like 10:30. So I was definitely dragging by the time it was all said and done.
Well, anybody that hasn't seen that, head over to champsnet.com. Check that out. All the videos, all the live stuff we did with the Champions Network is up there. Sean and I both were there for those. 2024 Nationals, Sean, now wrap it up. Tell me what you think. Targets, all the changes to the National Shooting Complex. Give me your thoughts.
Okay, so I'll start with the changes. So it was, obviously after the debacle last year of the rain, they did that major improvement along Vendor Row. So they've got a huge stretch of concrete all the way out to the traps. That should help if the monsoons ever come again. That should keep Vendor Row pretty clean, pretty nice. They also built that big pavilion to eat in, big steel structure, metal roof. That's permanent. No longer will they have that big like wedding style tent there. So that was nice. And there were some other things here and there that I noticed, but so it's nice to see that they're adding on and spending money and trying to make the facility better. Great atmosphere this year. Can't really complain about much. I think the targets were fair, if not a little bit on the softer side than what we've typically seen in years past. Green course on the main was still challenging. Don't get me wrong. But red, yellow, orange, I think they were about the same, if not just a touch softer. What do you think?
Even though it's the worst that I shot all week was the green course, I think, here we go again. Somebody's going to run me over with a dump truck. I think all the courses should have been like the green course. It's a national championship, but that's just me. All the targets were really good though. Other than that, you could see everything good. You had time on everything. I didn't think anything was really too much of an eye test. Super Sport was awesome. Of course, I'm going to love that because I shot it best. I ripped off a 90 on that one, even though I missed the 4 biggest, slowest 20-yard trash can lids in your face on the whole property. Still ended up with a 90 on that one. Felt really good though. I ran the tower stations and whatnot. That felt good. But I had no expectations. I hadn't touched the gun but once since the Ohio State shoot in August. So,
right.
But it was a good time. I just can't believe how fast it was over with.
Oh yeah.
I got there on Monday. David Radulovich and I pulled in, I think it was Sunday night. We got to the VRBO and then we were at the grounds Monday morning, and it seemed like the week went by so fast. And the following Monday, I looked at David as I was leaving the VRBO. I'm like, can you believe that the week is over, like, where did it go? I mean, it's done. He's like, I can't believe how fast this went.
It was action packed. That's for sure.
Yeah. So listen, what's that?
I was going to say, I want to say one more thing. I want to give a big shout out and a big thank you to Sean Mainland and everybody at Kolar. I got caught up in that insurance deal, lost my insurance through SIAI, and did not fly down with my gun, which is a dumb thing to do, obviously. But Sean was nice enough to give me a loaner while I was there shooting. The first day it wasn't quite set up right, so obviously I couldn't hit water if I fell out of a boat. But after that, it got a little bit better. But again, a big thank you to those guys. The guys at Kolar are great. Him and Kevin really helped me out and get me rolling. And I just wanted to say a big thank you to them.
That's awesome. Yeah, Kolar's, the people down there are just amazing. I mean, the service that you get at Kolar is, I don't know. I think it's unmatched. But
I agree.
Yeah, good people. We got to see most of our sponsors there. It was, like I said, just not enough time. But we are talking to the 2024 national champion this year, Mr. Brandon Powell himself. Real quick tidbit before we get going with Brandon. The Northeast Regional at Cardinal Center, because that's going on. You've got the FITAS Grand Prix at Eagles Nest the weekend before. And then after that, all of that, you have the Ohio State shoot in August. Because all of that was going on, we weren't able to put together a Dead Pair Blast for Ohio next year. So Jake Spangler at the Cardinal Center has been kind enough to make the prelim at the regional, the Dead Pair prelim, where Sean and I will be setting the targets. So very, very honored, very thankful for that from Mr. Jake Spangler and all the staff at the Cardinal Center for including us in the Northeast Regional. So the Dead Pair, it will be the Dead Pair prelim for the Northeast Regional. So if you guys aren't signed up, come shoot our targets. You'll have some fun.
Yeah, and I think ultimately our goal was to try to build a North and a South Dead Pair Blast, basically. That's what we're working towards.
Yep, absolutely. We've had some questions about the Dead Pair Blast. Yes, it will be annually. And also, yes, we're trying to do one in the North and the South. So, but anyway, moving on from that, if you haven't signed up yet for the Dead Pair Blast, we're running out of time. You got about a little less than a month when you hear this to get signed up. Hope to see everybody there. $50 back to class in the 200 bird main, $25 back to class in FITAS, Super Sporting, 5-stand, and prelim. Targets set by yours truly and Mr. Big Man here. So I'm going to have a good time. We got the Fiocchi Longbird going on. Taconic Distilleries is going to be there providing the cocktail hour. We've got Bear Pelt is going to, I think, don't quote me, but I think they're doing custom vests for all the winners in the classes. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I hope to see everybody down there. We're putting together some other stuff, and it'll all be last minute, but there's going to be some door prizes and whatnot. So
guaranteed lots of smiles, we promise.
Yes. And everybody stick around after this interview with Brandon because we got something else we want to announce, and we need your help. So don't worry, it's not going to cost you any money. But we do need your help, and I think it's going to be something really fun everybody's going to get in on. But until then, sit tight. We'll be right back with Mr. Brandon Powell.
Hey guys, Jason and I really love bringing this podcast to you week after week, but it does take a lot of time and a lot of resources to make it happen. And without these very special people, we couldn't do it on a week-by-week basis. Hey, Toby Tomplay, help these guys remember who they need to support.
Yes, sir. They can support Fiocchi USA, Elite Shotguns, Vero Beach Clay Shooting Sports, Score Chaser, Odo Pro Technologies, Rhino Chokes, RE Ranger, Taconic Distillery, and Atlas Trap Company.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, on the phone with us, your 2024 National Sporting Clays champion, Brandon Powell. What's up, Brandon?
What's going on, guys? How are y'all?
We're doing good, Brandon, man. Huge congratulations on you on the back-to-back national championships. I mean, has it really sunk in yet at this point?
I don't know if it has or not. I haven't even had a chance to be home yet. I actually got home for the first time in a while this morning at about 4 a.m. So
yeah, I saw you out there at Cardinal over the weekend. You were giving lessons, so slaving away, nose to the grindstone. I see.
Yeah, you got to stay at it and strike while the fire's hot.
Amen. Amen.
Well, speaking of that, Brandon, they say the second championship is harder when you have to back it up like that. Do you feel that way, or you think it was more pressure than the first one, or no?
No, I honestly felt like it was a lot easier. I mean, if I had to compare this one here, the 2024 national championship to the 2023 or any of the other ones that I've been runner up at, which I believe is 6 now, I think this one came a lot easier than the rest of them.
Really?
Any particular reason why? I mean, was it the targets? Was it your mindset or?
Yeah, I think it's mindset more than anything. I told everybody last year, I think in a podcast and possibly when I did, one of the many interviews that I did last year at the end of nationals, the only thing that I've really changed as far as my shooting went is, in those high pressure situations, I've learned to, shoot like it doesn't matter when it matters the most. And what I mean by that is not be scared to miss. I watch all those guys in those super squads on that last day, especially. I think it was more evident on the last day of the super squad, since I've been back in the sport, 22, 23, 24 this year, watching those guys try to make up ground. And you just can't force yourself to do that. You add too much pressure, it's too much stress, and you put yourself in a situation where you're going to miss.
Well, that sounds familiar, doesn't it, Jason?
A little too familiar. And we don't have anything on the line like a national championship, right? So
yeah, we're just going for bragging rights.
Right. Well, I can't let Sean beat me. I owe him a beer and $5, but
that's right.
Brandon, Turner Purcell was keeping you honest all the way to the end. Did he make you nervous at any one point, or do you really look at that as far as scores go?
No, I mean, a 5-bird gap on somebody that's new to the game, I'm going to consider him, a newer shooter because he's only been shooting for 4 or 5 years now. Turner's come a long way in a really quick period of time. Mike Luongo coaches him. I've, had the opportunity to work with him a couple times throughout the year. Me and Turner shoot a lot together. I talk to him a lot over the phone. We're all really good friends, but somebody like that, I mean, not taking anything away from Turner, but Turner, if you go back, to the World Sporting Clays Championship, in New Jersey, back in May, I guess it was, and you watch, his performance, he made it, all the way to the end there, within 2 targets of me going into the final, and just couldn't finish the job, mainly because of the pressure, so I expected the same outcome again. And, that's something that you learn to deal with age. And I think some people learn to deal with it better than others do. And I think some people never master it. With that being said, by no means at all was I worried about anybody else out there. And I think that, that was a good question for you to ask me, because, when I'm in the cage and I'm pulling the trigger, I sometimes might ask other people, like I had Tiffany, what'd so-and-so do? Watch that cage, It's not because I'm worried by any means. I like to know the numbers. I like to feel the pressure, and I'm really good at performing under pressure. And the more pressure I have, the better I perform. So by no means at all at any point in time was I worried. If you watched, we both missed on the first station. No big deal. I didn't give any ground up. We go on a station or two. Turner gives another one up. I think Anthony gave one up. So nobody had gained any ground at that point. Then we stayed neck and neck the whole way. The targets for one were not hard enough where anybody was really going to miss a bunch. So, I mean, there was room to miss one here and there. So I knew if I stayed on the gas, and if you notice, we got to station 9, I think it was, Turner missed, and I got to just kind of screwing off because I knew I had room to play. And I missed another one, and I even missed one on the last station. Once I hit that single target, the golden ticket target, and then I broke the first pair, it was over pretty much. So it didn't matter for me anymore.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, that's definitely got to be an advantage for you. I mean, you know a little about Turner. You kind of, I guess you figured that he might be up there. I mean, or was that a little bit of a surprise that he was that close to you in the national championship?
No, I figured Turner was going to shoot well. I mean, he shot well all year. So, yeah, I wasn't surprised to see him up there.
Okay. Well, let's change gears a second. So, kind of a broad stroke opinion. Give us your take this year, the championship targets, the payouts, the competition you faced at nationals this year. Kind of give us your overall summary of what happened.
Well, I mean, as far as competition goes, you're shooting the best, against the best guys in the country, we're shooting against each other everywhere, basically, every other weekend somewhere in the United States. But, they're all there. We're all there. So, there's plenty of competition. I think the thing that makes the Nationals so hard to win, without a doubt in my mind, I think it's the hardest shoot in the world to win for a number of factors. They've got us all shooting on a super squad. Some people do better under pressure, some don't. So that affects people in different ways. You've got 4 days that you've mentally got to be able to keep everything together. That's a lot right there versus a 2-day shoot. You've got 4 days where you're trying to get it done. And, on top of that, it's you add the days and all the other events in there. So you're out there for a long time. So there's a lot going on and a lot can go wrong.
Yeah, and speaking of other events, I mean, how many other events do you participate in? Do you strictly focus on the main, or do you do other stuff?
No, I shoot everything for All-American points, and if you want to be eligible for the all-around, you've got to shoot, super sporting, FETAS, 5-stand, and main event, and the K-Cup. So those are all combined events.
And that's got to add to your wear and tear. I mean, obviously your mental fatigue and everything else comes up with that, right?
It does, but if you notice, you go back year after year, and I don't shoot as well in those other events, as I do in the main event. And that's mainly because I don't go after it until Thursday morning at 8 a.m. That's when I take it to another level. And I just try to get through all those other events and shoot them well enough to stay, in the top. And then when Thursday rolls around, I go after it.
Gotcha.
Well, Brandon, starting with last year, winning the national championship, for the last 12 months, you've been on a roll, dude. I mean,
right.
You've won every major shoot and big blast in this country, including the 2024 World Sporting Clays Championship. Dude, let someone else play for a minute, man. I mean,
well, it's funny. It's funny you say that. That kind of opens the door for me to be kind of blunt about it. I probably would if they'd all show a little more respect and give me a little more room to just be me,
Yeah, you feel like you're being scrutinized still a lot?
No, yeah, 100%. That's okay, though, because that makes me who I am, and I don't think that I would be able to win if I wasn't under a microscope. Now, don't get me wrong. It gets old. It gets old dealing with all of it, but it drives me. And it pushes me and it makes me want to go that much harder. And, it's made me very, very passionate about the game. And, there's a difference, I think, when you're doing something for financial gain and you're doing something because you love to do it and ultimately you love to win. I mean, obviously we can all agree that there's not a whole lot of money in the game. I make most of my money off, my coaching, and you make most of it off Make a Break, but there's not a whole lot of money at the end of the day to be won at a tournament unless you can consistently win HOA everywhere you go and you have people paying your way and paying your entry fees. Let's be honest about it. It's an expensive game, and the payouts aren't there.
Yeah, and that's something that us mere mortals face every tournament we go to because, let's face it, 98% of the people that go to a tournament aren't going to win anything.
Right.
And you have all that travel and everything else. But, you kind of alluded to something there. It was a question I had down the list here, but I'll go ahead and ask it. I mean, for whatever reason, you do have some haters out there, some of your competitors. Have you learned over the years to use that as fuel for your fire, or do you just turn it off when you hear all the buzz?
No, 100%. I use that to fuel the fire, and I think I don't think they hate me. I think that there's a lot of jealousy, and, I can't, at the end of the day, I can't help that I have all the experience I have and that God gave me a gift to do what I do. So I just, I use that as I channel that energy. And like I said, it gets stressful at times, but it's nothing that I can't deal with and I'm not, used to dealing with. So I use it in a positive way and I bear down. And when I'm stepping to that cage, I've got one goal, and that one goal is to win. And, I'll do whatever it takes to do that and mentally, and
yeah,
it is tiring though, being on the road and being gone from home and never having a break. But, you get to a point to where winning almost becomes addictive.
Yeah.
Okay.
I could see that.
Well, Brandon, so, okay, with everything you just said there, I mean, obviously you kind of shoot with a chip on your shoulder. You got a point to prove, so I get that. But, obviously you're kind of at a different level than even the greats of the game. A lot of the guys, I mean, I'm not putting anybody down. That's not it. I'm just saying right now, you are the hot ticket. And I mean, other than the shooting with your chip on your shoulder, trying to prove something, or just, trying to make everybody, respect you for who you are and how good of a shooter you are, is there anything else that you can point at where you feel like you are doing things a little bit differently, or you've got a little bit of an edge somewhere because of some specific reason? I'm just kind of searching, because again, when you have this kind of talent and you're able to pull away the numbers that you do consistently, I mean, that's pretty special, man.
Well, yeah, I mean, 100%. I think that, if you want to really get outside the box, and, you can't really ever overlook the gift factor there and the talent level that, the gift that God gave me. And I truly believe that. And, but yeah, I do think that there's things, since I've started coaching and teaching more, I'm constantly looking for ways to, bridge that gap between the coach and the shooter, the person that's taking the lesson. And I watch, I've gotten to where I watch a lot of these other top shooters, not just, in America, but, at the World Championships when we shot in the UK last year, and, over here this year in the United States. And I do think there's reasons, I think that me coming from the backside of the bird, never missing the line, I've noticed recently that I shoot the target later than most people do, if I'm allowed to. If the target allows for that and I can make the move longer, I make the move longer. So essentially, yeah, I mean, coming through the bird to get the line, I think I've got more connection to the bird for a longer period of time than 98, 99% of the guys in the game.
Okay.
Well, we're gonna dive into that in a future episode. If you don't mind, you and I talked about it a little bit, maybe doing another episode. So we're gonna save that for that one. But I do want to know, in the middle of the year, I think it was around World FITASC, and then I know it boiled over into the U.S. Open. You had some issues with the health and the eyes and all that, and a little birdie told me that gummy bears was the secret. Can you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that? I mean, if you don't mind. I mean, that's really not a secret. It's kind of a health thing. And can you tell us what was going on there?
It's not a secret, and I've always been pretty open and blunt about everything. I think everybody that knows the name Brandon Powell will agree with that. But I realized when I won the World Championship and they put that cover on the photo of me, as that photo of me on the cover of the magazine, I was like, damn. I told Tiffany, I said, damn, I'm big. I've gotten fat, and I had made my mind up kind of going into that. But what really kind of broke the ice on that was when that photo came out. I was like, I got to lose some weight. This can't be healthy. So, I started on a semaglutide shot and started changing my diet. And, here I am, 3.5, 4 months later, and I've lost about 67 pounds.
That's
and,
awesome.
My energy's better. I feel better. But, to go back to, unfortunately, in the process of that, the U.S. Open happened to be about the time that I was, about 10 weeks into the shot, 8 weeks into the shot. And that's about the time that, because it is a diabetic drug and it's used to lower your insulin levels, your blood sugar, it happened to kind of peak in my system there. And I felt like I was seeing the birds good. I couldn't hit anything and I couldn't figure out why. So, I got on the phone with a friend of mine that's a doctor, and we ended up checking my glucose levels and with a glucose machine, and my blood sugar was about 60. So, I mean, I was literally walking around half dead out there and just couldn't hold focus on the target, because the first thing that goes is your vision. So, right after that happened, we went straight to the Northeast Regional, I believe it was, at Maryland. And I don't think I lost a shoot since then.
Yeah. I mean, you've been rolling, dude.
So, it was unfortunate timing that it happened where it happened, but, we figured it out. I was able to get my blood sugar back up for, one or two of the other events. I won the super sporting. That's part of the game, though. I don't care what you do, whether you're hitting baseballs, you're playing golf. Tiger Woods, one of the best to ever hit a golf ball. That guy didn't win every single weekend. He may have dominated throughout the year when he was hitting the ball good, but nobody is going to win all the time, you know?
Right.
And, you know, you see these people talk, well, Brandon's had a streak. He's had a good run. It's probably done. I don't think it's done. Matter of fact, I know it's not done. I think that I've got another 10 or 15 years easy that I could keep going as hard as I'm going now, but you're not going to win all the time. There's too much talent. There's too many factors that go into that. You know, your health, you wake up one day, you eat something bad, you don't sleep well, you're not going to see the birds as good. So for anybody to say, you know, that I'm going to win everything from here on out, I mean, that would just be crazy to even say that. That would never come out of my mouth. So I think it's physically impossible. However, I do think that I don't think the streak's over by any means, and I think that I can keep that up for quite some time now.
Well, the only reason I asked that is, well, two parts. One, for the health thing, just so people understand what can happen or what you were going through. And the other reason I asked that is because there was those kind of talks going on, and you heard it. You know what I'm talking about. And it's like, oh, the streak's over and Brandon's not shooting good anymore. It's like, come on, guys. You really believe that? You know, it's like,
yeah, I mean, I heard all that at the Open. You know, they said, oh, you can't, you know, Brandon didn't shoot well. It's over with. You know, you can't come from behind these targets and break them. I mean, you know, sometimes I laugh. I sit back and I laugh at that stuff, as aggravating as it can be. I sit and I laugh about it with the people that I do trust and that I know are friends and family out at dinner or at our house when we're at a shoot. And I go, you know, maybe they're just telling themselves that to make themselves feel better, like they still have a chance, you know? I know that sounds cocky and it sounds arrogant, but, you know, it's like I said, I feel like at my level, I feel like at Anthony's level, Zach's level, Gavin, all of us, I don't feel like practice is what allows us to win. I feel like it's the mental part of the game, you know? So you've got to be able to do whatever you got to do in your mind to be able to get through that to win.
Yeah.
Well, and, you know, along that note, Brandon, I mean, obviously we talked a little about your coaching. I mean, that's got to be blowing up, right? I mean, obviously your success this year, your phone's going to be ringing off the hook. Am I right?
It is. And it's been that way, honestly, since I've been back in the game, and I've continued to build it and build it and build it. And, you know, I'm adding more and more students, and I'm actually getting to a point now to where I'm running out of time, and I'm kind of picking and choosing what I want to do. And I think I'm going to start going more group-based stuff, mainly because of time. And, you know, we're going to start working on a bunch of videos here in the near future to get some videos going, get some subscription-based stuff going.
Right. And then, you know, I remember earlier this year, I think it was late summer, we had you and your student Hunter Webb on the show. How's his progress been doing? I mean, I know you focus with him quite a bit, don't you?
Yeah. We're together all the time. You know, I'll be headed back up there to do a bunch of deer hunting with them here on Monday. So, you know, Hunter's just he's like any other kid. You know, they're young at that age, and they're still figuring stuff out. And you know, they're still seeing targets. They're practicing. They're learning. And it's a learning curve, you know, and I feel like a lot of that stuff for some of those kids, especially like Hunter, you know, they've got the ability, they've got the talent, but they don't have the mental part of the game yet. And that's just something that they're going to have to grow into, and it'll happen for all of them. You know, it's just a matter of when and where. I hit mine later in life. You know, I don't think that I had the mental part of the game down until I came back in 2022. So, you know, that put me at 34 years old. So, I mean, I think we all mature differently, and we all have a time where we hit maturity, and it just happened to be later in life for me.
Well, you know, and along those lines, you know, another question I have is, okay, so, you know, we all know that the younger kids, they learn quicker. They got fantastic eyes, quick dexterity. I mean, you know, they're peak, but like you said, the mental game's weak. So when you coach somebody that's younger like Hunter, and then you have somebody come along that maybe has shot the game, they're a little bit more mentally in tune and have the patience and stuff. Do you find it more challenging to try to coach somebody that's like in their 30s and 40s to try to get them up to where they're going? Or do you think it's easier to start at a younger level and then, you know, build it up from there?
Well, you know, there's two different ways to look at that. You know, you take somebody that has experience, that kind of knows where they need to put the gun, you know, in that aspect of shooting. You know, they've got experience as far as targets with distance, speed, angle, all that stuff. it can be good, but I think sometimes it can be bad also, because you're trying to break down bad habits and change things that you feel like need to be done in a different way to up their percentages of how many targets they break and their consistency. So I think it could go either way with that. I think you got one working against the other sometimes.
Okay. That's
well,
fair.
in regards to that, we had Chad Roberts and David Radulovich on earlier for an episode of Scoops that we did. And Chad had talked about working with you and credited a lot of his new consistency and success in his performance to you. What's it been like working with Chad?
Chad is he's a wild one, kind of like myself. It's been a pleasure. He's a great guy. And, he gets all ramped up when he's in the cage. And I think it takes that kind of intensity. I know that I bring more intensity to the cage than anybody in the sport. And, but no, it's been a pleasure. Chad's a great guy. I like him personally. I think there's a lot of people that give him a hard time, just like I'm giving a hard time, but that's okay. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. He's doing what he loves to do. And, he came to me, and I respect him for coming to me, because he coaches. And from what I understand, he does a good bit of instruction through, breakpoint instruction. So I respect the guy that he reached out to me, and he wasn't scared to go ask somebody, that's a student of the game, for a little bit of help and a little bit of advice, and I was glad that he came to me and I could be the person to help him and get him back to enjoying the game again.
Well, I've said for the last few years that Chad's been on the show and helping Sean and I here and there. The guy's knowledge is incredible. I mean, like, he's very knowledgeable of the game. I mean, and his students have done very well, but there was something, I couldn't put my finger on it. There was some little thing missing with Chad, whether it be whatever technique or how to channel all that energy or whatever it was you worked with him on. Obviously worked, because he shot nationals this year better than I've ever seen him shoot it. So
right. I think it was a little bit of I think it was a little bit of both. I think that, he's got some stuff technique wise now that's going to improve his consistency and, allow him to be more consistent with the target line for sure. And we, I think he's just in a better spot as a person now because he's enjoying the game. He struggled for a while and he was just really putting a lot into it. And I don't think he was gaining any ground because he was trying too hard.
Well, that's actually good advice. You can try too hard and it can work against you, right?
100%. That's like we go back to, when we started the conversation tonight, the show, talking about, what have I really changed over the course of the years of me shooting to be able to win like I do. And I think it's pretty simple. I try to shoot like it doesn't matter when it matters the most. And, I'm taking a more offense instead of a defensive approach.
That is so hard. I mean, I don't think you can actually train that.
I was just getting ready to say that's way easier to say than do in my mind.
Oh, 100%, and I've mastered that part of it. And I think as long as I hold on to that part of the game, I've got a lot of good years ahead of me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right. So speaking of years ahead of you, I mean, you've had some time to ponder on it. What's next for Brandon Powell? What's on the bucket list that you still want or need to accomplish?
Well, I ultimately, I'd love to add a World FITAS title to the list of everything else that I've won, but I've got time to do that. Obviously, I'll be back at it next year, shooting sporting. I may go a little lighter on it than I did this year, and I'm going to start off the year probably in December, early January in Florida. And I'm going to try to shoot a couple of bunker matches and see how that goes. I think the only thing that I'm going to have trouble with there is showing up to a bunker match and, shooting 50 targets a day for 4 days and it taking all day to do it. That's going to be pretty boring not being able to run over and shoot 50 rounds of make or break, I
was going to say, Brandon, see if they can set a make or break up for you or something. You get something to do in between.
So if I can get past that part, the boredom part of the game, I shoot it extremely well. I think that there's something really positive there for me in the future. And, it'd be awesome to try to make the team with Derek. Me and Derek Mine are really good friends, and that guy's a hell of a shot. And I got a lot of respect for Derek, and, he's always been there for me. And I can't think of something cooler than to, if me and him were both be able to qualify for the team and make it to the Olympics, it'd be pretty amazing.
That would be amazing. That'd be really cool. Brandon, you and I had talked about it earlier this year, and you alluded to it here just a little bit ago, about doing some instructional videos. Obviously, that's still in the works. Is that something we're going to see soon?
Yeah, we're going to try to start filming here, hopefully in the next month or two. But, we got winter coming up, and we've got, it's downtime for everybody, and I'm trying to take a little bit of a break. But yeah, it's something that we're definitely in the process of already trying to structure and work out to where we can, hopefully when 2025 rolls around, we can start marketing and selling and promoting all that stuff.
Awesome. That's going to be cool. Well, let us know. We'll be more than happy to get you on here and talk about it when they come out. Help you any way we can. So, Brandon, I know there's a ton of people you want to thank, and you got sponsors, people that stand behind you. Dude, now's the time. You got the floor.
It's been a pretty humbling experience to come back from 5 years off and do what I've done. There's no doubt. And I don't know, honestly, that it's really sank in. And stuff like that doesn't, when you're on the road and you're going from shoot to shoot, you're going and giving lessons, it may be another month, it may be tomorrow, it may be a couple of weeks, but I honestly don't think it's has sunk in, through all the text messages. It's kind of I'm starting to realize what I've done with the game and how I've kind of in a essence, have started to change the game, since I've been back. And it's just, it's pretty incredible to be able to do what I've done. And I don't know that I'll ever be able to have another season like I had, not just in 22, but especially in 2020, or in 23, let alone in 2024 here. I don't know that anybody will ever do that, and it's pretty amazing, even to me, that I was able to do that, through all the, I guess you could say, the trials and tribulations of the past and everything else. And I think a lot of that's behind me now, and just got to keep moving forward. But, I couldn't think, Remington's been really, really good to me. Briley Manufacturing, Krieghoff International. There's so many people. I'm sure I'm going to forget to mention some of them. Bobby Chambers and Luke, his son at Winnig, that do all my stock work for me. And even Mike Luongo, Rick Webb, Chip Welch. There's a bunch of people, at the end of the day, I think most importantly, probably, Tiffany, my fiance, for allowing me to be on the road and be gone as much as I am, and take care of the kids. We got 3 kids at home and they're in school, and to make all that work, we worked as a team, no doubt, throughout the year to be able to do it all. And I couldn't have done it with all the people that were involved, and it means a lot to me. And I just can't say thank you enough to all those people, the sponsors and the fans,
That's awesome. Yeah. It takes a village, as they say. And if you look at any competitor in any sport that's at the top of the game, they'll all tell you the same thing. They have to surround themselves with good people in order to do it. And it sounds like you have. So
yeah, 100%, and I'm a big believer too, that, in order to do anything you do in life, I don't care if you're sitting at a desk, pushing a pen every day, writing down paper, or, writing on paper, or whatever it is you may do, shooting a shotgun, you're a professional athlete, hitting a golf ball or a baseball. I really feel like your personal life has to be in order for your mind to be right when you're on the field, no matter what you're doing. So, there's definitely a lot to be said about that,
Yeah, well, for sure. 100%.
That's a great point.
Well, Brandon, listen, I know you had dinner plans tonight, and I don't want to keep you any longer. We are going to catch back up with you on that other episode like we talked. But in the meantime, man, congratulations, 2024 national champion, world champion this year. It's been a big year for you. You've accomplished a lot, and congratulations on all your success.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. Looking forward to the next episode.
All right, Brandon, take care, buddy.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Well, Jason Rambo, say what you will about Brandon Powell. The guy is a machine.
Yeah, it's one of those things. He's got lovers and haters. He's got a past that's, I don't know, I guess you could say is still haunting him. Whatever it was in that past that caused the turmoil that he has, it's here, But There's no denying his performance.
No, and I, for one, I give him a lot of kudos and a lot of respect because, hey, we've all done stuff in the past or made mistakes, and, you don't want to necessarily be branded for those or labeled with those for the rest of your life. I think Brandon's definitely making some big strides in improving himself and proving to everybody that he's a serious competitor on and off the field, and I wish him nothing but success from here on out.
Wait, what are you talking about? What do you mean we all have done things in the past we're not proud of? I've been an angel, Sean. Just ask your wife.
I've got a filing cabinet full of crap I could talk about you and me. So don't make me dig it up.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Hey, look, speaking of which,
moving along.
But no, speaking of that, seriously though, Sean and I are approaching episode 200. It's going to be coming out somewhere, I think we figured somewhere like in the late February range, Sean.
Yes, yes.
So as long as we can get it recorded before then, we are asking, we've kicked around all these ideas. We want to do something really cool for episode 200. We've talked about having a round table with some well-known shooters and just telling stories and not even talking about shooting. We've talked about having somebody interview us and, digging into past whatever, as PG as we can keep it. But you know what? Sean and I aren't going to do that. We're going to let the listeners, we're going to let y'all decide what you want for episode 200. And write us. Look, it's real easy. There's a, send us a message button. It's a little link right down in the podcast description if you're listening to it on a podcast outlet. We're easy to find. Social media, Facebook, Instagram. Go to the website, thedeadpair.com, hit the contact button. Look, smoke signals, messenger pigeon. I don't care how you get a hold of us. Get a hold of us. We want your ideas. We want to give you what you guys want, you guys and gals. So, please, by all means, send us your ideas. We'll follow up with it. The most common idea will get the golden ticket, I guess you could say, Sean.
Yeah, might as well.
We're willing to do what you guys want. We want to do something fun, keep it lighthearted, and just celebrate episode 200. And also, Mr. Alley, by the time they're hearing this, we're only going to be a couple of weeks away from what will start our 5th year in the podcast, which is, God, can you believe that, Sean? 5 years and 200 episodes.
I have no idea how you've put up with me for all these years.
I've been telling your wife the same thing, and she keeps turning around, and we won't go.
She's just trying not to laugh. That's all. She just doesn't want you. You don't want you to see her laugh.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
No, but seriously, it has been it's been almost surreal, dude. It's been really cool. I mean, I'm sure like you, back in the day when we started this thing, never imagined we get to where we are now, and it's great that we're helping so many people. We're entertaining people. It's always cool to go to these shoots and have people come up to us and say, man, I'm shooting this game because of you guys, or I'm competing in registered tournaments because of you guys, or I've got my family, my friends shooting because of you guys. That to us is like the biggest kick in the pants, man. It is just awesome to know that we're reaching so many people out there.
Well, and you know what else is humbling too? Not just that, but like even the manufacturers that have stood behind us that are all coming back next year.
Yep.
I mean, it's incredible to me. It just humbles me, ran into a guy at Nationals, was like, hey man, you cost me $50,000 a year and I love it and blah, blah, blah. And he goes, but we got a problem. And I said, what's that? He goes, my wife started listening to your show and you talked her into doing it. Now it's another $50,000 a year. And I'm like, sorry to spend your 401k, but it's so awesome though. The people in this sport have made it so enjoyable. Of course, chasing these pros around, getting them on the phone's like herding cats, as Sean puts it. But I guess you can equate it to the Nationals, Sean. We just talked earlier in the show about how fast the week went. Time flies when you're having fun. And here we are coming on 5th year, episode 200. And it just seems like yesterday we were just starting this.
I know.
So,
hopefully we've improved from then to now.
Yeah. Well,
I'd like to think so.
Maybe honed our skills no, I know what it is. Jules has honed her skills in making us sound better.
Yes, she does. She definitely has done that. Yes, she's definitely done that.
Yes.
Hats off to Jules, because I'll tell you what, without her, we wouldn't sound half as good as we do.
Oh my gosh. Y'all listening to this right now? Some of the stuff that Sean and I have handed her and asked her to fix and put together for an episode is like
a train wreck.
I don't know how I'm not in a divorce right now. I really don't.
A burning dumpster fire train wreck.
Yeah. Tell me about it. I'm not going to go there, but it's been interesting. Let's put it that way.
Absolutely.
But no, we love you all to death. Thank you so much for standing with us. Hey, Sean, real quick question. Where are you at with the Dead Pair Challenge on taking a new shooter every month?
Well, actually,
where are you at?
Believe it or not, when I ran into Brandon over the weekend, I brought my staff out shooting. So I had 5 guests with me. My son's been shooting before, but the other 4 had not. So they enjoyed themselves. So I'm kind of making up some ground there. And I've got a father and son that I still owe a trip out to. We've been just having too many problems trying to get our schedules to coincide. But overall, I think I'm about even. I've done my marginal basics through the year. How about yourself?
Okay, cheater. I didn't say take a football team all at once. You're supposed to take a new
the
shooter
numbers still
month,
count
but...
the same, buddy. There's no designation to where you have to go so many trips. It's the number of people that you take, as far as I'm understanding it.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, Sean. That's really cool. And I've had so many people reach out to me and tell me, hey, I've taken, 12, 15, 20 people this year, whatever. And it's just awesome to see. And I love hearing it. But that is our message. And to answer your question, Sean, yeah, I'm a couple behind, but we still got 2 months for the year's out and the weather's nice down here. It's no longer hotter than a spoon in a crack house. So we can get out and do some shooting. But you like that little?
It's hotter than a spoon in a crack house. That's a heck of an analogy right there, buddy.
You like that?
That's a good one. That's a good
one. I'm good for something every once in a while.
Yep.
But no, I am going to take a few people out and get caught up on my numbers for the year. But that is our message. Take someone new shooting, take them to a tournament, show them how much fun this is. Sean, I know I'm stealing your line, buddy, but I'll give you the one right here before we go. Thank you, everyone. Cannot wait to see you next week. Sean Alley, it's been awesome 5 years. Can't wait to do another 5 more with you, buddy. Until next week.
You guys tune in to the Dead Pair Podcast.
We'll see you next time on the Dead Pair Podcast.
The Dead Pair.
The Dead Pair Podcast is brought to you by Elite Shotguns and Vero Beach Clay Shooting Sports and is fueled by Fiocchi USA. The Dead Pair theme song was written, arranged, and produced by Toby Tomplay. Big thanks to the following sponsors: RE Ranger, Odo Pro Technologies, Rhino Chokes, Score Chaser, Taconic Distillery, and Atlas Trap Company.